Hello, hello. How are you? How is your weekend so far? It's the beginning of August. Can you imagine? We're already like almost more than 60% down for 2025 here. And yeah, a lot of things is happening. How's your summer holiday, by the way? For those of us who are kind of like enjoying your summer, or maybe you do not enjoy your summer, either way. Because in Malaysia, we've been having one of the craziest, hottest season we've ever had for, I don't know, years. Yeah, for the past almost 2 months, the weather was so hot and it's still really hot. And we are barely surviving, seriously. It's crazy hot. Yeah. Anyway, yeah, welcome back to Ask Jason Anything About Meta Advertising or Facebook advertising or Instagram advertising, as you say. Now, for those who are new to me, my name is Jason. I'm from Malaysia. I'm a meta ads optimization strategist. So what I mainly do is I work with clients to take their meta ads campaign to the next level. So whether you are new to meta advertising, you can actually go through some of the learning I have, or you can just directly work with me to learn directly one-on-one on how to strategize your meta ads campaign and how to set up the optimized campaign structure for your campaign to make sure that you're getting the most out of your campaign at the very beginning. Or if you have been running ads on Meta, you want to take it to the next level, whether you want to fix whatever that is not working in your campaign. I mean, a lot of people have been running ads, but it's fluctuating. The result isn't that good all the time, and you do not know what's missing or what's broken, and you want to having another specialist eye to look at your campaign to hopefully find out a plan or build a plan to take your campaign to the next level. Or you've been getting good results but you want to take it to the next level, but the problem here is, as we know, when we are scaling meta ads, it's not always as straightforward as just scale and things is going to be good, right? Sometimes, a lot of times in fact, when you try to push the budget, things will just probably break, and you probably couldn't find your way back to the usual result, and now you're talking about another problem, which is how to take it to the next level. So that is something I do as well. I work with clients to build a plan, and we optimize the campaign one variable at a time, because the method that I use, it's very, very metric driven, meaning we look at the numbers that we can find in the Meta Ads Manager to build a plan, instead of just building everything, or build a plan based on gut feeling. That's what I want to say, because a lot of advertisers around the world, they just kind of like optimize their campaign based on gut feeling. Like, for example, when you have a campaign that is not working, most people will just throw it away. Why? Because, well, they will say that it's not working. But my question is, why is it not working? What can we learn from this one? Otherwise, it's very possible that we might be repeating the same problem or same mistake in the future. So finding out is really the key. And to know what's working, then take it to the next level is another key. So that's what I do. Meta-driven optimization. I mean, data-driven optimization. So if that's something that you're looking for, feel free to click on the link somewhere in my YouTube channel, just to, let's connect and see how we can possibly work together. But what I do here is every Sunday night I go live on Facebook and Instagram. I mean, sorry, Facebook and YouTube, mainly to answer questions that I receive from my community. So you can either just drop me an email, but I would recommend that if you have any questions regarding meta advertising, the first thing I would recommend you to do is please go to my YouTube channel. And I've posted over 1,000 videos on my YouTube channel answering questions about meta advertising. So let's see whether you can try to find something that is related to the challenge that you are facing right now. Now, if you can find one, great. Just hopefully I answer your question and quickly fix the challenge or fix the problem and move on to the next thing. Otherwise, if you cannot find an answer, it's okay. All you need to do is just post your question as a comment on any of my YouTube videos, including this one. So what I'm going to do is, on the following Sunday, I will screenshot your question and I will bring it up on live like this. Usually this live is for 30 minutes or less, sometimes more. But then again, yeah, it's to answer your questions live. So you can either join me live every Sunday night at 10 p.m. Malaysia time to ask your question here. So if you have any questions at all, post your question in the chat for those who are watching, And even if you're watching this as a replay, you can still post your question in the comment and I'll pick them up to answer questions right away. Right? So yeah, just in case you want to learn meta advertising, if you're new to meta advertising, to be frank, meta advertising isn't the most complicated thing, but then again, it is quite, complex, especially to beginners. So many tools, so many buttons to click, so many different things there. How do I know if I'm doing the right thing? How do I know if I'm using the right feature or the right settings in my campaign? So if you are concerned, I would recommend my Meta Ads Blueprint 2025. So this is the 4.5 hour recorded training that I walk you through a few key things. First, I talk about the latest features and tools that you need to know in 2025 to make sure that you get the most out of meta advertising, especially the AI features. All right, so that's the first part. Followed by, I will teach you how do I build a meta ads strategy. Nowadays you can't just run ads with one single ad. You need to have a strategy. So I will share with you what is the methodology that I use to develop meta ad strategy for lead gen, for e-commerce, and even if you're selling a marketplace like Shopee, Lazada, that applies as well. So I'll walk you through how do I design meta ad strategy in terms of messaging, what kind of message that we would use, what kind of ad creative that is optimized right now, how much budget we're going to put on the top of funnel and retargeting, etc. And then I do not just teach you how to design a strategy. I will walk you through how do I set up a campaign based on the strategy that I design for both e-commerce and lead gen, with step-by-step walkthrough so that you can just learn it and go to your ads manager and start building a campaign right away. It's that straightforward. I'll give you all the step-by-step walkthrough over there. And once you have your campaign up and running, the next key thing that I always believe that all advertisers must know is about how do we analyze the meta ads metric? Because running ads is the easiest part. By having your ads running, how do you know whether it's working or not? What are the metrics that you should be tracking? So these are all the questions that we will answer in this module about analytics and optimization. I will share with you the latest optimization and scaling technique that works for all the clients that I have combined. I still work with clients though on the done with you, meaning like more like a coaching and consultation basis, whereby me and my client meets on a weekly basis, where we analyze the data and we build plan for the next step and so on and so forth. On a weekly basis, we meet and we will learn about what are the things that is working right now and not working right now. So we do a lot of iteration and adjustment as we move along. So that's something that is really useful. Yeah. So I learned a great deal from my clients on this one. And this is how I pack everything that I know into a very compact learning program that you can just learn and, start running your ads campaign on your own right away. So yeah, so if that's something that you're looking for, then scan this QR code. You can just enroll and start learning right away and everything is going to be good. Just go there. All right. So just in case you want something more personalized, I do have a one-on-one meta ad support. So you can just scan this QR code and you can book a 30-minute or 60-minute one-on-one discussion with me. So we can use this to talk about any other thing about meta advertising. Like you want to go through the strategy that you have before you deploy, I work. I'm fine with that. And if you have a campaign that you have been running for at least 7 days and above, you want me to come in and look at the data to build a plan for you, that works as well. Some clients use this to, have me walking them through on how to set up the campaign so they have all the materials ready and stuff. If you want to need me to come in and set up the campaign with you, you better book a 60 minutes instead. So we're gonna sit down over a Zoom call and we're gonna build the campaign together, and everything is gonna be recorded. So treat this as your one-on-one, more like meta ads training that you can actually just kind of keep and train your people with it. So yeah, some clients after going through the sessions, they decide to go on a weekly basis with me, which is fine. Otherwise, you can use this link to book as and when you need it. So yeah, no obligation, no commitment, no contract, everything just as and when you need it, whether it's 30 minutes or 60 minutes, just book it and we can have a quick Zoom call to rectify whatever challenges that you're facing. Yeah, so that's something that you're looking for. Then scan this QR code and I look forward to work with you. Now, the first question I have here is coming from one of my community in my JSON On Demand. So it's about how to control meta ads frequency. So the question is whether are we able to control meta ads frequency? The answer is no and yes at the same time. So there are certain objectives that allows you to control frequency, which is under awareness. There is a reach objective or reach optimization that you can kind of set, like for minimum how many times you want your audience to see the ad in 7 days, or maximum how many times you want your audience to see your ad, on the maximum. But I always do not recommend reach or awareness objective, because The objective itself do not allow us to target action-based audiences. So if you're running ads just to let the whole world know about certain thing without looking forward for any action like visiting your website and stuff like that, that is fine. Otherwise, this ad would actually kind of reach everyone. You will probably reach a lot of people at a really low cost, but it's not targeted. So yeah, if you're okay with that, then go ahead. Otherwise, in most of the cases, especially the clients that I work with are usually small, medium businesses. We always want to get the result right away. Like we have very limited ads budget. The moment we spend on Meta, we want to try to start getting results right away, whether it's purchase, whether it's lead and stuff like that. So if you are under this category, most of these action-based objectives do not allow us to have frequency control. But in order to have a frequency control, another thing I want to talk about is why do we not want to have frequency control? The main reason is we want to make sure that our ads are being optimized for the right audience. Like for example, as I always do, I break my audience generally into two categories. One is the top of funnel, which is essentially new people. It is important for the top of funnel campaign to constantly reach more and more new people because it's number game, right? The more people we can reach, the more likely that we are able to bring enough people to come to our website, and with the objective that we are targeting, we might be getting the result that we want, such as the purchase and leads and stuff like that. And whereas on the other hand, for retargeting, especially for e-commerce, retargeting is essential because theoretically, most people won't buy in their first encounter with you, but it's important that you follow them at the right timing for the optimum duration and optimum frequency. Like for example, if you do a 7 days retargeting, you want to make sure that you reach these people as many times as possible within the first 7 days. Usually our target frequency is 3 to 5. So when you kind of break your audience in this way, then we have two ways to control the frequency. First, for top of funnel, it is actually to apply exclusion. Very straightforward. In fact, you should actually exclude people who have recently encountered or engaged with your post or advertisement. So that would help you effectively push those people who have recently engaged with your ad or even your post, which usually your fans, your followers and stuff like that, to stop seeing your ad. So that frees up your top of funnel campaign to reach more and more people. So that's the main purpose, right? Now, when it comes to retargeting, it's important that you know how much that you need to spend. Say, for example, if you're doing a 7-day retargeting and you're spending like $10 and your frequency is about like 2, then you probably want to up the spend a little bit, maybe to push it to above 3, because usually when it comes to retargeting, our ideal frequency is between 3 to 5. But if you are actually way higher, like 7, then it's really the time that you reduce the budget. So this is really the simplest way to control the frequency in an optimized meta ad strategy, whereby you have a top of funnel running and a retargeting running. But having said that, I want to say, although frequency is important for us to achieve the objective, like reach more people and reach the right people at the right duration, it is not the only metric that we need to pay attention to, because frequency sometimes, even at the top of funnel, if it's slightly higher but it's actually getting you the result, and it's fine. But there are other metrics that you can look into, like your CTR, your CPM and all that. These are all important metrics. They may affect your result as well. Like for example, if your CPM is really at a high side, then you're probably running ads at a really expensive side, which is going to definitely get your cost per result to be higher and stuff like that. Or if your CTR is lower, then your ad is definitely not effective. Then you are probably not optimizing the dollar and cents that you're spending on meta ads. So these are all the metrics that we always look at. So it's, instead of just focusing on the frequency, I would strongly recommend that you learn how to look at the entire meta ads optimization or the metrics, to really define or decide whether your campaign is doing well or not. If it's good, then what is good? Is the CTR? Is it the CTR or the CPM that is doing well? Or is it because your landing page is converting so well that, like 60% of those visitors land to your site actually add to cart? That's awesome. But then again, we need to find out what's really leaking in the whole funnel. That's why I always recommend that, running ads is the easiest part. But if you are not sure whether your campaign is working or not, then I would definitely recommend that you book a one-on-one discussion with me. So this is actually a direct booking that you can book a 30-minute or 60-minute Zoom call with me. We can do a lot of things with this one. So if you have been running ads, you want to look at the metrics and to build a plan, that's the easiest part. Scan this QR code, book a 30 minutes will do. But if you are new to the campaign and you are kind of like, you need somebody to come and walk you through on setting up the campaign, understanding the feature and all that, then you can actually book a 60-minute. If you have certain thing, like let's say some clients actually, they have their creative ready or they have their plan ready, you can just book a 30 minutes to run through the plan I'll give you some, feedback and opinion based on whatever that you already have to make sure that you actually kind of get the most everything prepared, before we launch everything into the market itself, right? So yeah, anything, if you believe something that can be used, can be done within 30 minutes, go for that. If you need to go for the 60-minute, especially if you want me to set up the campaign with you, then go for that. Yeah, scan this QR code and I look forward to work with you. All right. So the next question is quite interesting, which is about how do we increase Meta Ads budget? You see, here's the thing. After you've been running ads for a while and you're kind of comfortable or satisfied with the result that you have, the next logical thing is how can we spend more to make more money, right? Let's say your ROAS is already 5, meaning every dollar that you spend, you're getting $5, into your pocket, which is totally, in most cases, it should be very profitable. So the next question would be, if I'm getting a $5 every $1 I spend, if I spend now I spend 1,000, doesn't mean that if I spend $10,000, I'm gonna get 50,000, in revenue effectively immediately. Now the key here is when it comes to scaling, it is not as straightforward as it is now in the market. There are many different way or different philosophy or school of thoughts when it comes to scaling, right? Some people say that you need to, whatever that is working in the ad set, you need to duplicate into a new campaign, and then you put all the money into it, or rather, like you should just group everything into one and scale everything. But I would say there is no one size fit all kind of solution. It really depends on the budget that you have. Let's say, for example, if you are spending relatively smaller, I wouldn't recommend to break into too many ad sets or many ads, because that will kind of limit your audience or kind of limit your ad set or the ad itself to learn. Like some school of thought says that, if you spend $50 a day, you probably want to have a 20, let's say 25 ad sets, each one spending $2, and you want to test different, like detailed targeting. That is definitely a no-no. But then again, $50 can actually allows us to have 10 different ad sets, or rather 5 different ad sets, testing different creative. You see, that really, we need to understand what are you testing, but effectively, in most of the case that we do right now, most of my clients seeing good results with single ad set. Meaning, let's say if you spend $50, I would have maybe 10 ad sets at the very beginning, and each one spent $10. Sorry, 5 ad sets, each one spent $10, and I would test 5 ad at a time. So usually over a week, you will see something that is really doing well, something that is not. You can always retire the old one, scale the whatever that is working, and then if you want to introduce new one, you can constantly do that. But what I would always recommend you to do is, because single ad set allows us to scale up gradually, like carrying all the legacy data. Because one thing I always believe that is important in a campaign to grow is that you have to obtain and kind of grow the data along the way. Especially, and nowadays campaign kind of can be volatile for the first 2 weeks. Then after that, once it started to stabilize, things will get better and better over time. But then again, you need to know, how do we retain the data? That's why my best practice is really to build single ad sets or simple structure, but we keep the data. Let's say you can start with $10, for example. Whatever that is working, you scale 20 to 30% each time. Usually we go by 20 to 30%, but of course, if you're spending smaller, you can go for a little bit more aggressive, like 30%. But if you're already spending like $100, $500, I would recommend that you go very careful to go by 20% each time. So once we scale, we usually would have to observe the CTR and CPM for at least 1 week. I would recommend to go for 1 week. Some people kind of have like the intention to rush things. I would say sometimes when it comes to meta advertising, you gotta have the patience. You can't really rush into things. So I usually go by 20% each week, and we observe the CTR and CPM. Yeah, there might be subtle fluctuation, but we need to know whether is it affecting the whole entire core of the campaign performance. If it's just the result fluctuating, but CPM, CTR seems to be okay, it could be just a week. So we need to monitor on a weekly basis. Once it's stable, then we scale again. But if you really need to rush, okay, like some client and say like, I'm spending $500 on each ad, like for now it's doing well, I want to double down. I really need to double down. So if you want to double down, our usual practice is keep the original ad set as it is, but we duplicate another ad set carrying the new budget, and we try to push that. Yes, you have to understand the new budget carrying the ad set. I mean, the new ad set carrying the new budget will be volatile in the first 1 week or two. But you understand when you do this is the risk that you are taking. That's why I would say that let's try not to rush things, but if you need to do that, then that's really something. So here's the thing. If 2 ad sets carrying the same ad, One will work as really good, one will work not so good, which is totally normal. But one thing you have to make sure that if you are scaling aggressively, make sure to apply exclusion really, really strictly, just to make sure that we are reducing the overlapping to the minimum level. But then again, frankly, increasing the budget isn't the only way to take your campaign to the next level. I've seen so many campaigns or so many clients, they are doing well with an under-optimized campaign, meaning you're getting good result, good ROAS, but there are a lot of optimization opportunities in the campaign itself, which we can exploit and leverage to take it to the next level. Like for example, I've seen a client having an 8 ROAS, meaning $1 that he spent, he gets $8 out of the way. I mean, in back into the pocket. But then again, the CTR is really, really low, which means the ad are not being optimized. So the CTR, I think it was actually at the range of 0.3, which is 0.3 can get you 8 ROAS. Imagine if I introduce better creative and bump the CTR to 0.6, that's double, right? I mean, that's not a lot to ask, because our benchmark for CTR is 1%. And it's totally possible to introduce new creative and bump the CTR to the next level. So if we do that, imagine, we can just immediately double the number of people that we bring to the website right away, without spending more money. Do you think that can possibly, I'm not saying 100%, possibly result 100% more add to cart, 100% more purchase? Even if we just achieve 50% more out of it, it's already a huge leap without spending more money. That's why my recommendation is, before you increase the budget or before you scale the campaign, it's really important that we make sure that the campaign is optimized. There are many things that we can optimize, you see. I was just talking about the CTR, which is on the ad side. There are off-ad optimization as well, like for example, if, like out of 100 people who lands on your website, okay, only 20% of them added to cart. That means if you're able to bump this number a bit, to 30%, that means you can actually potentially have 50% more sale, but you just need to do the right thing. That's why looking at the whole metrics of the campaign performance is really important for us to understand what is working and what is not working, and how can we fix the leaking holes in your entire funnel. That's the reason why, if you're running ads, if you're already thinking about scaling and increasing budget, before you do that, I would recommend that you book a one-on-one Meta Ads support with me. So these would have two options, all right? These would directly allow you to book a Zoom call with me and pay. So you have the option to book for 30 minutes or 60 minutes. So if you have been running ads, if this is the campaign that you've been running for at least 7 days, go for the 30 minutes, and immediately we will have a Zoom call to dive into your metrics. So I would do 3 things with you. First, I would actually build a dashboard of all the metrics that you need to track in your campaign, in your ads manager, so you can always come back to it. So with the dashboard, I will analyze this with you, right? So you can ask me questions. We can, like share. I mean, we can discuss why is this metric so important? What is the benchmark of this and all that? So that will allow you to understand more so that you can do it in the future, right? So as we analyze the campaign, we will be able to build a plan. So the plan would give us the steps to take, like, let's say, test this first. If it works, great. If it doesn't, then go for the next option and all that. So all these tests really is the right way to optimize. As we do optimization, it's actually optimizing one variable at a time. We usually don't do everything, like, let's say, test 3 to 4 variables at one go, because we wouldn't be able to know which is working, which is not. That's why one step at a time. Patience is virtue. We can rush things, but I would still, like, recommend that with client, let's learn from the whole process and make sure that you're acquiring the right concept in optimizing the campaign. So if that's something that you're looking for, scan this QR code, pick a 30 minutes if you're just, looking for someone to audit your campaign and build a plan. But if you want me to come in and, understand your structure and rebuild the campaign, or even just walk you through on how to set up the campaign with the strategy that we have, or you want to have a strategy that we can discuss together, go for the 60 minutes, then we can actually do this in the most effective way. So that's something that you're looking for. Scan this QR code, and I look forward to work with you. All right, so that brings us to the end of this session. We don't have a lot of questions, but it's all good questions. Remember, if you have any questions, post your question as a comment on any of my YouTube videos. And what I'm going to do is, on the following Sunday, I will screenshot your question and I will answer your questions live, over here on my YouTube channel. All right, so with that, thank you so much for watching, even if you're watching the replay. All the best. Have an awesome week ahead. See you. Bye.